Hello everyone, my name is Hunter May. I'm the owner of May Crochets and we're gonna be making these super cute zipper bags. The really cool things about this zipper bag is number one, no sewing required. We're actually going to slip stitch join the crochet to the pouch. It also is stash busting, so you can bust your stash because I know that you have a lot of yarn because I do as well. So for this pattern, first you're gonna need a lot of stash yarn. So I have all my stash yarn in this bag. I have 14 different colors of yarn that I'm gonna be using. I'm trying to show you. And basically I'm just gonna repeat this one here and make a second one because they're just so cute. So any weight of yarn, but just make sure all the yarn that you're using is one single weight. So don't mix weight 4 with bulky, with weight 2. We want to keep all the same weight. For this pattern, I'm going to be specifically giving the measurements, stitches, and rows out for weight 4, but I will also give instructions on how you can make it with a different weight of yarn just by measuring as you go. I will be giving exact stitches and rows as well if you want to just not have to measure and make exactly this. So next you're gonna want a letter I or a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook for the actual crocheting, and then you just want a tiny metal crochet hook. It doesn't really matter the size. I'm using this size here. It is a 2.75 millimeter. It's the smallest hook that I actually have. This hook is gonna be used to puncture our little zipper pouch so we don't have to sew, so we can just pull the yarn through with our crochet hook. And then as far as the zipper pouch goes, this one is 9 inches by 6 inches or 22.8 centimeters by 15.2 centimeters. I got this one from Hobby Lobby. It's a sublimation blank. But it's pretty cheap. It was $1.50, so not too bad. This is basically what's on the inside of the zipper pouch. That way it adds an entire lining on the inside as well, which just gives that finished look super cute. Before we get into the pattern, I did want to mention the stitch that I am using in this video, I used for all of my stash bust patterns. So I have 3 stash bust patterns aside from this one. I have a sweater, a cardigan, and a vest. So if you really like this stitch pattern, you have a lot more yarn to bust. I know you probably do because, like I said, I have a lot as well. Go check out those patterns. I'll link them down below. It's the same stitch, but essentially they are made to measure patterns, meaning that my patterns will dynamically calculate the rows and stitches needed in the pattern from your body measurements. So one quick thing to mention about colors. There are multiple different ways to order the colors with this pattern. So I'll put up my sweater pattern that I made. This is one way of doing it. I essentially had, I think, 17 colors, and I did one of each of those colors. And then once that section was done, I did a new section randomizing that section of colors. So it was more random color variations throughout. With this zipper bag, and what I'm actually gonna be doing the pattern with here too, is I repeated colors. So I basically have a band of colors that I repeated every section. You can do whatever color variety you want. You can mix them all up. You can do 2 rows of the same color. The one thing I would say is the spike stitches that we will be doing look best if the row below it is a different color. Also, when picking colors, something to look out for to make sure your colors will look good is separate from warm tones and cool tones, and I try not to mix them into one look. With the colors I picked here, I picked out all the yarn in my stash that I was considering using for the pattern, and I separated warm and cool colors, and I ended up liking the warm colors a lot more. And then don't be scared about all the ends that you're gonna have. The ends just go inside the bag and you don't even need to see them because there's no way for anyone to see them because there's a lining on the inside. So don't worry about it. All right, let's get to the tutorial. One thing I forgot to mention is that if you would prefer a written tutorial over a video tutorial, you can check the link down below in the description. There is a full free written tutorial of this pattern, and you should definitely go check it out. Otherwise, let's get to the video. So we are gonna start with your eye hook, and you're gonna grab your first color. So this color is not gonna be shown that much. It's the very bottom of the bag here. And then quickly too, I will show you, here are all my colors. Ignore the fact that all of the cakes are a mess right now. I will wind them later, but I'm gonna start with this one, go across to here, and then just repeat that order. But here are all my colors, same colors I did for this. So I'm gonna grab this one. So this is going to be the measurements for weight for yarn with your eye hook. If you are using a different weight of yarn, you're gonna have a different amount of chains across, and you also might be using a different size crochet hook. So use the one that is recommended by the yarn label. So we're gonna start with a slip knot, and for the weight for, we're going to chain 31. We want the chain to be a little bit bigger than the zipper pouch. So that is 31 chains. So stretched, you can see it's a little bit bigger on both sides. So if I hold it to the one side, you can see how much bigger it is. So make sure you also are not counting your last chain, which is your turning chain for this row. If you're measuring with any other zipper bag, just make sure it's bigger than that. And now that we have our chain, we're just going to single crochet across. So starting in the second chain from the hook, so not this one, but this one, we're going to single crochet and then just single crochet all the way down the chain. And you should have a total of 30 single crochets if you chain 31, or you should have the amount of single crochets of chains you have minus one, which was your turning chain. You should be at the very end of your row, have a row of single crochets. I would once again just make sure that your width of your work is the size of your zipper bag, maybe slightly bigger to make sure it fits and you don't have to redo this. So now we're going to essentially flip our work. So we are going to turn so the single crochets are pointed down, and we're gonna single crochet across the bottom of the chain. So your single crochets here, we're gonna add some on this side of the chain. And for this, we don't really necessarily need to hide our tails as well. We can just keep them on the inside of the bag. So I'm gonna ignore that, but I'm going to stretch my loop out just a bit and single crochet in the bottom of the chain. I just added my last single crochet in. So going right there, single crochet, and then just go all the way across. So you should end with that same amount of single crochets as you had on the top of the chains. It should look like this, where you have single crochets here and single crochets there on both sides of the chain. Once you reach the very end, you go into that last bottom of the chain and you have the right amount of single crochets. You should have something like this. We are going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet that you made, so on the top of the chain. So I'm going to add a slip stitch, and then we're going to do our color change. So now I'm just going to cut my yarn, fasten off, and we have the bottom of the bag, and now we attach our new color. This color that I'll be doing is this brown color here. So this is not a spike row. I'm gonna make a slip knot. We're gonna look at the wrong side of what we just made. So we don't want to go into the slip stitch. We only want to go into single crochets. So we're gonna flip our work, insert our hook really anywhere around the side, and grab our new slip knot and pull it through. Chain one, and then single crochet in that same stitch. And then I'm going to pull my tail to the back because I don't want to hide it and I want to keep it on the inside of the zipper pouch. And now we're just going to single crochet all the way down the row. Once you reach the end of the row, we're going to work on the other side as well. So you want to make sure you're going into every single crochet, especially at the corners. So there's one, there's another, and then I'm turning my work as I go, and I'm just going to continue my single crochets down this side as well. And since we're working on both sides, this entire round should have 60 stitches, or the amount of single crochets that you did in the last round. 2 more single crochets here. So 1 there, 1 at the top of this stitch here. And I highly recommend for these first couple rows that you are double checking the count, because the stitches are a little bit hard to see in the first 2 rows. And then we're gonna slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made in the round. And then we're gonna fasten off this color. So cut your yarn, fasten off, and we have our second row of our bag done. So we're just gonna keep going around like that. But for this next row, we are finally doing a spike row. So I'm gonna grab my yarn for the spike row. We're gonna be working on the right side. This is the wrong side that we just worked. So now we're flipping it and working the right side. So make a slip knot with your new color. Insert your hook around the side here. I kind of mix it up a little bit just because towards the end, this right side is going to have tons of strands, so it might be a bit bulkier. So you can really go anywhere that feels easier. So insert your hook into the top of a single crochet, insert your slip knot, and pull it through. Chain 1 and single crochet. So for the spike stitches, you're essentially going to be working a single crochet, but instead of going into where you would normally go, you're gonna go 1 row below. So instead of here, we're gonna insert here, right there. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop like you would with a single crochet, but you wanna pull up the loop to the same height as the other loop on your hook. Then you're gonna yarn over, pull through 2 to complete your single crochet. But now it's a spike stitch because it is taller than this single crochet. Then in the next stitch, you're just going to do a normal single crochet, and then you'll do the spike stitch. So don't go in there, but go in there. So right there. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up to the height of this last one, yarn over, pull through 2, and then single crochet again. So you're just going to repeat the spike stitch and then single crochet all the way around until you meet here, and then we'll slip stitch to the beginning. Once you get to the corners, you're gonna still be repeating that same exact step. It might look a little strange, but we're going to single crochet in that corner, and then you're going to spike stitch. So not going in there, going in the one below. And it might look a little strange in the corner. If you have to kind of just put it somewhere that makes sense, that's okay. Once we get to the rows higher up, it'll be a lot easier. Just the first couple rows are a little bit harder. So we're moving around and working the other side as well. And then once you get to the end, we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet we made and fasten off. And so that is our very first spike stitch row. And you can kind of see it'll fold up like this, and this will be the bottom of our bag. So now we're just gonna keep kind of repeating that. So we're gonna work on the wrong side, attach our yarn, do single crochets across, attach to the right side, single crochet, wrong side, single crochet, and then we'll do spike stitches. So after this setup here, there should be 3 single crochet rows and then a spike stitch row. Now we're gonna take our new color and make a slip knot, turn to the wrong side. You can kind of tell what the right side and wrong side are from the spike stitches. The spike stitches look a lot cleaner on the right side versus the wrong side. So you're gonna insert your hook anywhere along the corner. Where you attach for the single crochet rows doesn't necessarily matter too much, so you can just insert anywhere, grab your slip knot and pull it through, chain 1, and just single crochet all the way around. And we want to make sure you keep the end towards the inside. One tip to mention is when you do the slip stitch at the end to keep it pretty tight, because you can easily accidentally think it's a single crochet and go into that instead, and your stitch count will slowly increase, and we don't want that to happen. Make sure you're double checking your count all the way around as you go. So now that I finished the wrong side single crochet, I'm going to flip to the right side and reattach my yarn for the right side single crochet. So there will be, like I said, 3 single crochet rows between a spike stitch after the first spike stitch setup that we did. And the reason we go wrong side, right side, it's super important because the spike stitch will not line up well with the row below if you are doing it all right side. So you definitely want to make sure that you're swapping between right side and wrong side. So now I'm going to grab my new color and make a slip knot, do the same things all over again. So working on the right side this time, inserting my hook just anywhere around here, grab my slip knot, pull it through, chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch, and single crochet all the way across, making sure that my stitch count has not changed. And then when you get to the very end, make sure you slip stitch into the first single crochet you made and fasten off. All right, and then I'll do one more row on the wrong side of single crochet row. Now it's time for another spike stitch row. If you want the spike stitches to line up, so up the entire thing, you want to make sure this spike stitch lines up with that spike stitch. It will depend on where you add your single crochet. But honestly, I kind of put these all over the place. They don't exactly line up and I still think it looks pretty good. We're gonna attach our slip knot, pull it through, chain 1, single crochet, then spike stitch in the row below. So not this one, but this one. Pull it up, pull through, normal single crochet, go in the row below, pull up a loop, pull through, normal single crochet, all the way around the round. And then you will slip stitch to the first stitch and then fasten off. And there you go. So this is a pretty good starting point. You can see that we are slowly working the bag around like this. So the zipper pouch will sit inside like this. And you're just gonna continue repeating the instructions of 3 single crochet rows and a spike stitch row until the desired height. So for this 6-inch high bag with my wait for yarn with an eye hook, I need 27 rows. Your row count might look different, but for me it is 27. So I am actually just gonna continue working on this and I will come back to you when I hit 27 rows and how we will join to the zipper bag. Here is my bag with 27 rows. I highly recommend that you block this before you add the lining inside of it because you cannot easily block it after the fact. So all of my yarn that I use is acrylic, so I have to block with steam or heat. So I use an iron and just make sure it's on the acrylic setting, and it just helps in making the acrylic yarn just a lot more flowy and drapey than if you don't block it. So I highly recommend doing that before this next step. So now that I have my little pocket of crochet done, I'm going to add the zipper inside. We're just gonna put the zipper lining inside, matching up the corners together. And then make sure all your tail ends are inside. And now we're going to join. Pick a color that you want to join with. I either recommend the color that you just finished with or potentially like a white, since the white is what color the zipper bag is. So I think that's actually what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a white color. And then now we're gonna use our really small or just a smaller crochet hook that is a metal crochet hook. That way we can puncture the bag. I would recommend getting a stitch marker and marking a corner. That way we make sure that we're working and joining evenly all the way down. So I usually grab the corner of my crocheted work and then grab onto the zipper to mark the corner there. And then I will start joining on this side of the bag. We're going to puncture the bag underneath this little flap inside. That way when the flap is down, the yarn will actually be behind it and you won't see it from the inside. So you want to know where that fabric is underneath to know where to go on the outside of the bag. So mine is like right below the seam here. That's on the other side there. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna take our crochet hook and put it into any stitch. I'm just gonna go anywhere along this right side. And then you're just going to poke through the bag. And so I am through my stitch and also through the bag under where the flap will be. Then we'll take the yarn that we're using to attach, grab it, and pull it all the way through. And make sure you leave a decent enough tail here. So now we're just gonna go do that all the way across. So going into the next stitch, then poking through the bag, I'm gonna grab the yarn, pull it through, and then we will slip stitch. And then make sure this stays fairly tight. And you're just gonna do that all the way down, making sure that you do it evenly. So insert into the next hook, poke through the bag, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then slip stitch. And repeat that all the way across till you meet where you started. Once you reach where you were, you can go into that same one that you started with, poke through, pull your yarn through, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually cut our yarn and pull it through to fasten off. As you can see, my seam is hidden underneath that flap there. We're gonna go from the inside and pull the strand we just fastened off back through, and we're gonna tie the two ends together. All right, so now that it is tied, we're gonna use our hook yet again to grab those strands back out. So go anywhere through the front to be able to grab those strands back and pull them through. Now our knot is on this side, but our strands are on this side, and then just hide them in between the lining and your crocheted work. So just go from anywhere in the middle, grab those strands and pull them through. And they're completely hidden. And you are completely done. Now you have your zipper joined to your bag. There is a full lining on the inside as well. Your seam should be underneath the little flap there. And you have a zipper bag that was no sew. And there you go. So your little zipper pouch is all done. I hope you like it. Please, please, please share pictures of your finished zipper pouch because there's so many different varieties of how the stash yarn can look when it's finished because of all the different colors, and I've never seen an ugly one. They all look so incredibly good. I would love to see yours. You can tag me on Instagram at @maycrochets, or you can put me anywhere. I'm on literally any social media, so please let me know. Comment down below if you like this tutorial, and I hope you go check out more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!